BlastMusic247.com. We're changing the industry, one artist at a time.
Hey folks, Michael Bate from the Michael Bate Band, coming to you from Blast Music 247's Blaster Rock and Metal Podcast. Yes, folks, right here on Blast Music 247. Tonight's guest, I must say, I sadly admit I did not know who they were until we started setting this up. However, I became a fan so quickly that now I am embarrassed. For those who don't know this band, you're going to be embarrassed as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show Rob Gravelle and John Perinbam.
Hey,
gentlemen.
Hey, everybody.
I gotta say, I love that intro that you got for the show. That's wicked.
Yeah, that's a mutual friend of ours, Tim Steinruck from The Mighty One. I believe that's a lick from one of their songs, and he so graciously allowed us. Tim's a co-host on this show as well, so he feels connected.
Cool. Well, yeah, that rocks.
Yeah, right on, man. As do you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for finally doing this. I know we chatted about this for a while, but finally the day has come. So for you and for all the listeners and the watchers, I want to kind of set the stage a little bit, explain how this works. What I typically do is we take a little trip in the Wayback Machine, and we go back and we talk about the genesis of music and the career for you. Then we kind of come back here to the present, talk about what you guys are up to now, and then really the fun part, we put that sucker in fifth gear. We go right to the future so your fans can know what is next from you. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Right on. All right, so I hope you're doing well. Sit back, relax. So I'll start with maybe each of you individually, and then, of course, collectively you'll have things to say. So maybe, Rob, you're on my right. Let's just talk about the genesis of your music and then when it kind of transformed into the two of you together.
Oh, okay. So me and John go way back together. We've been playing in bands for like 30 years, I think, something like that. More, eh? Yeah, okay. Anyway, so we were in Ivory Night. Yeah, and then I had my own little thing going on the side where I just would usually do covers for fun. And then there was COVID, and that kind of put a bit of a hiatus for Ivory Night. And then, of course, even before that, me and John were collaborating on stuff. But then after Ivory Night kind of went kaput because of COVID, we went full tilt into Gravelle Perinbam. So that's pretty much how that came about.
If we go right back to the beginning, it would have to be when we auditioned Rob for an old band back in about 1991 or so. And he's one of the few people that could actually play the material. So, he ended up joining us. And we've always worked really well together. So it goes back to, those days of, it was actually Sudden Thunder at the time. Then later on, we had an alternative band called Dr. Squish, a couple of cover bands and things like that played around a bit. Then I had a band called Ivory Night that I eventually reformed with Rob on guitar. We did 2 albums. And then a third that ended up being my solo album. And we've been working together for ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, 91, we're talking 33 years of a musical friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
That's
the
right.
good part about being together for 33 years as musicians, and what's the bad part?
Well, there's really no bad part. I mean, we
Yeah,
don't really step on each other's toes at all. So, each of us does our part, and yeah, there's no try to,
yeah.
convince
Yeah.
Now,
anything.
maybe that's something you could elaborate a bit on, because I know both of you do. My goodness, you both involved in the music business in so many different facets, from writing and arranging and playing and recording and mixing and
Yeah.
mastering and producing, and I'm probably missing like four other jobs that you guys have. So
Video, did you get
maybe
video?
tell the folks, John, what is kind of your main roles in the duo, and then Rob, we'll go to
Sorry?
you. What are your main roles? All right.
My main roles primarily vocals, and then more recently I started playing drums. Like I've actually been playing for a long time, but I just started getting more seriously into it. I'd always had the approach in the past that somebody else is going to do this, and then with various projects, what we're finding is, well, the people we're depending on to do it, we're not doing it. And then if eventually they did it, it's not exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah.
So I just started laying down tracks, and yeah, Rob liked what he heard, and so I've kind of taken that role as well. I'm also doing quite a bit of the video production, not
Mm.
not all of it. Recently, I am doing all of it, but like Rob's done video stuff in the past. That's
Okay.
so each of us we're able to do a whole lot of stuff. On some of the earlier material, I was also handling a lot of the bass duties. On the last track, Rob actually put down the bass for that. That was a
Yeah, a little
Manhattan
bit.
project. Sorry, Rob.
Yeah, I started doing a bit of bass, but really, you do most of the bass. It's just that
Yeah.
one song.
But yeah, it's there's no real rules in my opinion. It's more whoever's got the ideas, by all means stick it down.
Yeah. Okay. So
Anyway,
go ahead,
John's
Rob.
being modest. John's being modest there. I'm going to cut in because, look, I play guitar. That's what I do. I write some music. That's about it. That's what I do. So everything else is John. Everything else is John. So you got drums, you got bass, you got the vocals, you got the vocal melodies, you got the lyrics, you got everything is John.
Yeah, but
The
you know
videos.
what though? I've said this in other projects. Like a lot of stuff that I'm composing is against chord progressions and patterns that Rob has composed or somebody else has composed. So yeah, I came up with the melody, but yeah, it's over music that you would lay down.
Yeah, no, understood. Understood. There's layers, absolutely. So, 33 years together. I'm gonna stay on this just a little bit. So, you guys have seen some things, and as as Dylan alluded to, many times in the past. Well, the times they are a changing,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, you guys have seen change in the music biz.
Oh,
Anything that you liked, anything you liked better back then versus today, or even vice versa? Is there anything you like today versus back then? However you want to answer the question.
That's a real good question, and I'm going to say that in a lot of ways, I miss the old days of, I used to compose a lot of stuff with a 4-track cassette machine.
Yeah.
And what I found was, I used to have my Fostex 4-track, a Scholz Rockman for guitars, and a drum machine. And in a lot of ways, I like that approach because every day what I do, I come home, stick down a beat, and I'd record a whole bunch of riffs. And that's what I did every day. Now I find there's so much stuff to to fiddle with and perfect that it's a lot harder to create, because instead of just having a beat over which I'm composing something, now I'm trying to refine this beat. I don't really like programming drums, so eventually it means I'm going on to the actual kit, and it turns into a practice session. You know, 2 hours later, I'm coming up. Well, yeah, that was a good practice session on the kit, but
Right.
I've got no more energy to go and record something.
Rob, what about you? Like, what are the all the stuff has changed. What about your opinion?
Well, I mean, I like the way everything's gone digital, and I like the fact that the artists now can control the music themselves. You used to have to rely on studios and producers and everything else to get your music out, which we used to do in the old days, and that was well, expensive and difficult. You're paying a lot of money for studio time. Now we have so much control, but then the problem with that now is we have all this responsibility because of the control, and we now have to wear the producer hat, engineer hat, and video, I don't know what you call that, editor hat, all these hats. So it's a lot of work for an artist. You used to just learn your instrument and work on that, and now you have to do all this other stuff, business stuff, promotion stuff.
But that said, I remember going into studios, on projects we've worked on, Rob, where, we're coming out of the studio trying to convince ourselves that money was well spent. We're not quite happy with it, but we haven't got the budget to continue working in the studio. So that's it.
It's true.
Like 15 grand on this thing, and
there's definitely pros and cons. Sure. There's pros and cons, of course. You guys have seen a lot, though, pros and cons. Okay, let's stay in the past a little bit more here. So, if I may ask, what year did you guys graduate high school?
High school.
I'm trying to remember.
1980.
I remember. 1980.
Because I went into college in the same year.
Okay. So early, I'm 88, a little bit younger. Okay. So
let's 87.
You realize everybody's going to realize how old I am.
Yeah, 87 for me, yeah.
Okay. No, this is a much safer way of doing it. So let's go back to that time frame. So for me, like growing up, like my high school bedroom, it was all about the posters, man. I had all kinds of Kiss and Maiden and Journey and some other like things that were, like some young boys had on their walls, and Sixers, Steelers, that kind of stuff. So let's go back, John. 1980, your senior year in high school. What posters were all over your wall?
You know what? I didn't really do posters. I was more into like magazines and stuff like that.
All right.
Okay. So I have like the Kerrang and Cream magazine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As well as some other stuff, as you say, that young boys have.
Okay.
I don't think we want to go into that.
No,
well, you know what's funny though? In those magazines, you could pull out so many different pictures. I mean, you could have postered your walls just from your magazines if you wanted to do that. If you wanted to,
yeah, I'm not sure whether there's some reason why I didn't.
You wanted to keep those.
I remember having some posters up later on when Ivory and I used to practice in my basement.
Oh, in your basement. Oh, geez.
Then we had some posters up, but growing up, now it could well be I don't remember. That's many years ago, bro.
Yeah, it was a long time. Well, Rob, you and I are a little bit in the same time frame. So, what about you? 1987 senior year. What posters were on your wall, man?
Well, I did have a lot of posters, and so a lot of metal bands, like those classic metal bands. I had, in 87, I believe till, I think when I was a teenager, I was sharing a room with my brother. Well, I don't know if it was till 87, but I don't know. That's the room I remember, though, the one I shared with my brother. We had a big Maiden Killers flag hanging up. I had over my bed Judas Priest.
Okay.
He had over his bed like Rush 2112 era, which is
Yeah.
weird because it was really me that was in the Rush, but I don't know. It was over his bed. We had an Ozzy poster. We had Number of the
Wow.
Beast poster. It's about all I can remember as far as
Yeah.
bands. Yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty big. Those are pretty big,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah.
I like every one of those bands. And I tell you what, it's been so fun talking about some of your musical influences, some of your bands. But you know what? Let's listen to your band. Let's listen to one of your songs. So,
Cool.
ladies and
Cool.
gentlemen, may I present Beyond the Cage of Silence.
Outside my window, there's an open road, and it
Oh, oh, yes, it's time to get the party started with some of your music. Gentlemen, if I may, just a couple of observations, then I'd like for you, of course, to tell me about that song. So I will tell you, John, your vocals are reminiscent of one Jeffrey Tate, one of my favorite vocalists.
Yeah,
That's true.
Your tone is a Jeffrey Tate tone to me. Not really a Bruce or any, but a Jeffrey Tate tone. And then Rob, the guitar tones, you're going to find this maybe interesting. So my favorite guitar player, Neil Schon from Journey.
Right.
1975, their introductory album entitled Journey. The guitar tones on that album are eerily similar to the guitar tones used on that, which attracted me to the song because I'm such a Neil Schon.
Interesting.
Yeah, really cool. If you ever go back in time and listen to the first Journey album, you'll hear that.
You'll have to go back, check it out.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then, so yeah, just a couple observations from me. So, gentlemen, please tell me about that song.
Okay, the song from the lyrical standpoint is basically, a lot of us are put down when we're young. We're told not to speak up. Don't be yourself. Speak when you're spoken to. That sort of thing. The song's about breaking free of the implications that sort of upbringing brings up later on in life, and reaching past that, if you will, beyond the cage of silence, getting out of that cage, and overcoming your obstacles and reaching your goals.
Yeah, right on. Positive message. Yeah. Fantastic. Rob, what about you? What's that song mean to you?
Well, for me, it's mostly about yearning to hit the open road. That's what it's all about for me, and just being free and, like literally not being a prisoner in your own little, house and all that, and just getting out, seeing the world. So that's the way I interpret it. But of course, John wrote the lyrics, so he would know. So that video, that's the short version too. The song is longer.
Yeah, well, John will tell you, as a songwriter, whatever he felt has nothing to do with whatever the audience feels. We know that.
No, that's the thing, right?
Exactly. They interpret how they interpret it, and that's the beauty of putting music out there. It's not yours anymore; it's the audience's.
No. And honestly, I don't know where a lot of this stuff comes from. So, this is what I heard when the music basically spoke to me.
Yep.
And that's what I wrote down. So that's what it means to me. But as you say, everybody can interpret as they see fit.
Yeah, no, understood. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the inspiration process. I always joke that mine comes in lightning bolt moments. It's just sporadic. I wish there were more current and just more on a schedule, but that's just not the way it works for me.
I hear you, man.
For you guys, John, tell me about yours. I'll talk to you, Rob. John, what does your inspiration look like? How does it happen? What do you do?
You know what? I don't have any formal process. I actually, I've said in a few interviews that I once wrote a song. This is back in about 1989 or 90, stuck at stoplights. I had a little a cassette recorder. So I stuck the thing on record and I started singing this melody. Da, 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 da. And, I went home, recorded music on a keyboard, and that became Watch You Walk Away by Sudden Thunder that, we were playing up until the band ended in about 2012 or so. But that's how that was written. Other stuff, I've written a lot of stuff because I bought a new piece of gear that I was fiddling with. Ivory Nights, Theater of the Insane. I was learning to program a drum machine that I'd bought. So stuck it down with a 4-track, and I composed the whole thing like that. And later on, obviously, we arranged it with the band. But, the skeleton for the song came from messing around with the drum machine. So, I really don't know. For Gravelle Perinbam, generally what I'll do is, I'll take the music that Rob has written. He'll send me basically an MP3 of the song, and I'll just listen to it over and over.
Oh, okay.
And, eventually I will wake up with the music in my head. And that's when I'll start getting some ideas, but I got no idea where.
Oh,
Where
okay.
it
That's
comes
interesting
from.
because a lot of songwriters will start with the lyrics, then put the music to it. Others will start with a riff or a verse or whatever, put the lyrics to it. So, Rob, is that
Yeah.
typically do you hear like a lot of riffs in your head, and do you like write any words down, or you just want to get the music over to John and let him do his thing?
Yeah, well, usually John does his thing. I mean, I've written lyrics, I think twice exactly for Ivory Night, and I just wrote lyrics, and there they were, and then we put them to some music. But for me, yeah, it's all about riffs. So what I do is, it's kind of mixed in with practice. I'm practicing, and then I usually have my drum machine going at a certain tempo, and I go to different tempos. And then since it's all the studio, if I happen to come up with something I like the sound of, I'll put it down. So what happens is I put all these riffs down, different tempos, and then eventually I start going through them, and I say, oh, I wonder if this will go with this. Yeah, I think this will go with
Yep.
this, and then I put songs together.
Puzzle
So
pieces.
it's a great approach. The only problem is, since I don't really have an editor, it's me doing it, until John gets involved. And then I find that I wind up putting together so many parts that I wind up with songs that are, 9-10 minutes long, which is what happened with, like almost all our songs, even Beyond the Cage. The full song is 9.5 minutes.
That's right.
And we had so much trouble too cutting parts out for the video. In fact, we axed the solo, because the guitar solo, because we already have like another solo with the flute, and we said, well, you don't get a flute solo in every song, so might as well keep that. So anyway, that's my problem with my songs. I say, darn, if only we had a hit. But when you're writing 9-minute songs, that's not going to go too well. But anyway, that's me, so I can't help it.
You write what you feel. So one of my favorite bands, Alter Bridge, Miles Kennedy and Mark Tremonti, they talk about what you just talked about, putting puzzle pieces, different lines, different riffs, different whatever, and you put puzzle pieces together and see what fits, and it comes out to be a 9-minute song sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Well, for me, the whole thing is, how does it feel? And, for me, when I hear Beyond the Cage of Silence, it feels, for me, really good. So for me, I never felt that, oh, geez, what am I going to do here? Or, nothing of that. It just flowed really well, despite the length of the song.
Yeah. It happens sometimes like that, which we're maybe few and far between, but it does happen that way sometimes, right? Well,
yeah, because I think the thing is with us, like, I don't think anybody's deliberately trying to lengthen, or nobody's trying to do any particular thing. So it just naturally comes out, like in that one, it came out at that length.
Yeah.
And to me, it works.
Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely.
Personally, I got to admit, I prefer the audio version to the video, because for me, the video actually, it's like it's missing something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
but we couldn't have a video that's 9 minutes long. It's hard to keep.
You could. You have to work hard.
Maybe we'll do a extended video.
Concept video.
Yeah.
Yeah, director's cut.
Director's cut.
It's obvious you guys are songwriters. However, having gone through your catalog, thankfully, I did notice that you are not afraid of cover songs. And I will tell you, I'm terrified of cover songs, because I'm just too stupid to know where that line is between staying true to the song versus being true to you. And I don't know how to do that. However,
the
you guys
thing
are not
is
afraid of cover songs. You're not afraid.
The thing is with Gravelle Perinbam, like it really took form as Rob Gravelle doing his own stuff, doing cover tunes, and me guesting on the covers, mainly on vocals and then on bass.
Yeah.
So we always had the root in that. And really, we only started doing originals over the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, we couldn't practice with the whole band. And then, you know, when we could practice with the band, you know, it's a typical thing. People are not available. We couldn't get the schedule together. So eventually it was like, you know, I don't want to be on hold forever.
Yeah.
You know, this kid needs to rock. So eventually it's just like, well, let me see what I can do on the drums.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's faster for me to lay down the bass than it is to go back and forth.
Yeah, of course.
So that's how it took form. But yeah, it originally was me guesting on Rob's cover tunes.
Yeah. Tell me about No Quarter.
Oh, that was one of my songs. Well, before, well, not, no,
Yeah,
I think it was
I
before John started.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just
You were
got
guesting.
some production assistant.
You were guesting though on other songs at the time, so it was still
Okay.
this was still Rob Gravelle during
Oh.
Ivory Night. So this is
Okay.
my side project, and so
Okay.
so what? It's kind of a weird thing. Like at the time, yeah, I'd be getting different vocalists to sing on different things. So that one was a Zeppelin cover, and it's one of my favorite Zeppelin songs.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always wanted to do it, and I just thought too for that one. I thought, you know, I should try and get somebody that has a Zeppelin kind of. I don't know. Like I could have went the other way too. Like if John had done it, it would have been totally different. But I decided to go with someone that was Zeppelin sounding. So some guy that plays in a really really good Zeppelin tribute, and
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's,
mean, you can tell in the
right? Rich
Oh,
Ford.
Yes,
the guitar
yeah.
tones, almost identical. The guitar tones, even the
Yeah.
vocal tones, the effects
Yeah.
that you guys used. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
that sounds like a cover of No Quarter, but you know it's No Quarter.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I don't like the the only thing is with the original, I didn't like their what's that effect? A Leslie or something on everything? It's got that sound on everything, and I didn't like that. So what I did was on my keys, I went for more kind of 80s sound on the keys. So other than that, like the guitars were still kind of similar, but the keys I went 80s instead of 70s.
Yeah, right on.
all I
No,
changed.
you guys are
Yeah.
definitely not afraid. And I know we all love covers. However, right now, guess what? We're going to listen to another original from these guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I present Black Veil of Silence.
Woo!
Woo.
There's a darkness that is creeping across the land. For
Oh, hell yes. That song, ladies and gentlemen, has what we call drive. From beginning to end, that thing drove. I got to say, I hate picking favorites. I dig that one.
Right on.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I dig that one. Oh, my goodness. So, I mean, tell me about that one. I mean, video, everything, the production, a lot of time was put into that one. Tell me about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lyrically, that one is about the tendency of some people nowadays to hop on these conspiracy theories that really don't have any evidence behind the conspiracy theory, and basically just conforming to these so-called nonconformist groups that are propagating these theories. So that's what that was about.
Oh, right on. Yeah, right on. We have more and more of those today. Every day, more and more.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, well, yeah, here's this conspiracy theory. This is what I think. I've gotten absolutely no evidence to support it, but I'm going to vilify everybody that doesn't believe in this. And you see some real nasty stuff on social media, and it's
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob, for you, I'll tell you, man, some of that, quintessential Eddie Van Halen tapping there at the end, my goodness, that had to feel good to hear that one, man.
Oh yeah, it was. I'll tell you though, it was a really tough one to record. Actually, the rhythms, the solo was pretty easy. But the rhythms, oh boy, they were hard. I mean, to get them really tight and stuff. It was tough. And the toughest part of the song that was not in the video, it's the 6/8 middle section. That was the tough part. That is, and the rhythm that goes over the 6/8, it was a tough one.
I could never, It
took a while. It took a while to record that.
Yeah, that's another one that people need to check out the audio version.
Yeah,
because we had to shorten it for the video, but there's some cool instrumental work on the audio version.
Yeah, you could definitely tell you're children of the 80s, because, I mean, that's got that Maiden, Dio. I mean, you hear those influences, 100%, and that's fantastic. That's exactly probably what you wanted, probably, in a song like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
I personally never really think about that sort of thing. It's just whatever comes out. I'm coming from that era for sure. Rainbow, Sabbath, Judas Priest.
Oh yeah.
The Blue Oyster Cult. That's where I'm coming from. So,
No, understood.
Yeah.
So we talked about how you guys, have touched the music industry in so many different ways, and you have like 10 jobs in the music industry. Let's play a game. Let's pretend that each of you have to just choose one lane. So either John, you're either a vocalist, you're a drummer, you're a producer. You got to pick a lane, man. Could you guys?
That's easy. Vocals.
You'd want to be a vocalist. You could pick
vocals,
that one lane.
Absolutely. I've been singing my whole life.
Okay.
My dad says I was singing in the crib. I remember composing songs when I was 3 or 4 years old. So, and that's what I've always done.
Okay, so that's your passion then. Okay, Rob, for you, is it the axe or is it something else?
Yeah, I'd be guitar.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm always working on, guitar. So I better stick with it. I'm just starting to get the hang of it. So why quit now?
Well, I know good guitar players never think they're good guitar players.
Sorry?
I said good guitar players never think they're good guitar players.
True.
Work in progress.
But you know what, though? I chose vocals because you said I had to stick in one lane.
Yep.
But my other instruments are pretty high up there as well.
Yeah.
I play my drums every day. I work hard on it, and one of these things, it doesn't feel like work when I'm doing it. So I'll head down to my kit in the basement. I'll come up 2 hours later.
Yeah.
And it's like I've come up only because I gotta eat.
Yeah, you got to eat.
Yeah, one time,
true.
Yeah.
for some reason, I saw fit to go down to practice in the middle of the night.
Oh,
So I
jeez.
stuck on this playlist of songs from the 70s. So I'm just jamming away on the kit. Eventually, the song comes on with no drums to it. So, okay, I thought, well, let me check the time. It's like 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
It happens.
Surprising.
It happens.
Yeah.
It's not like work, man. It's not like work. Same thing with my guitars, my keyboards.
Yeah.
So it is amazing that certainly the lane that you're in is the lane you would have chosen. Do you guys ever see yourselves maybe in the future, maybe in getting more like into production, producing, mixing, mastering some, for other musicians as your craft evolves? Do you enjoy that part of music making?
I don't know. Like, I like doing my part for Gravelle Perinbam because, we know each other, we'll work on the thing until we're both happy. But the thing I'd be frightened of in producing would be, if somebody comes in saying, I want something, within this amount of time. I don't think I could hold myself to that time. I'm going to end up putting in all my own time, and I'm not going to end up getting paid for it. Put something out with my name on it if it sucks.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, my producer always said that songs are just eventually just surrendered. That you're just done with it. You got to surrender it, right?
Yeah, but I feel bad if the thing didn't have the standard behind it,
Yeah. Okay, so being a vocalist and a guitar player, so let's go. Rob, who is your absolute? You can pick one. Absolute favorite guitar player on planet Earth, other than yourself. You got to pick one.
One?
And John, you're going to pick your favorite vocalist, by the way.
I don't know if I could.
Got to pick one.
I don't know.
I know you're going to catch a headache.
Yeah, I don't think I can. I have different favorites, like two for lead and rhythm. So
I know.
So can I name at least one rhythm and one lead? At least
yes,
that.
Yes, we'll break the rules.
And even then, I don't know.
Could
I say like Jimmy Page? Maybe. Like, if I had to pick one guy all around, maybe Jimmy Page.
Pick another one. Top three.
I don't know. I don't know. I love Canadian guitar players. Let me put it that way, because being Canadian, I listen to a lot of Canadian guys. I love Alex Lifeson, Rick Emmett, Ian Crichton, the Saga. Wicked guitar player, underrated. But I like shredders. I like the Malmsteen, Marty Friedman. Van Halen, obviously. And then rhythm, Hetfield, Mustaine.
Okay, I hear your influences.
Yeah,
so paints a picture. That paints a picture. Yeah, I
get
that.
I forgot Jakey Lee. Jakey Lee.
My
man, Jakey Lee. I mean, you can hear him in that song we just heard. Jakey Lee is full of Jakey Lee influence in that.
So one turned into about 10. So John.
Yeah, sorry. Randy Rhoads. Sorry.
God bless Randy Rhoads. Yeah.
I was hoping to get away from answering that. I was hoping Rob
top three.
Elaborating. Give a list of 100 because I really don't want to answer that.
It's tough.
If I had to pick one. Geez.
Dickinson.
Dio.
Yeah. I mean, just came out of that little man was impressive.
But I mean, then how can you ignore guys like Rob Halford, Bruce Dickinson? Outside of metal, Annie Haslam of Renaissance. Phenomenal vocals. There's just too many to.
Yeah, it was a loaded question. I know you guys are probably. Yeah, your heart rate's up now. That was a tough question. So, you know what? I know your heart rate's up, but guess what? Your audience.
I gotta take a breath.
Yeah. Well, now you can take one last breath because, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play the last song of the evening. May I present Pleasant Valley Sunday.
All right, this is a little different.
Yeah, different. Something different.
sweet. He's got a TV in every room. Another Pleasant Valley Sunday. Healing's got a simple land. Mothers complain about how hard life is, and the kids just don't understand. Creature comfort goals, they only numb my soul and make it hard for me to see. My thoughts all seem to stray to places far away. I need a change of scenery. Another Pleasant Valley Sunday. Charcoal burning everywhere. Another Pleasant Valley Sunday. It's not a simple
Right on.
Too much fun. Too much fun. Like I said
It's
before,
fun.
you guys are not afraid of cover songs, and nobody covers the
No.
Monkees, but you do.
Yeah, I know. Of all the bands to cover, too.
I got to admit, I did grow up with, you know, the Beatles, the Monkees.
Yeah.
They were
Sure,
real
yeah.
musicians. They were real
Oh,
musicians.
they were. They
Played a
were. Yeah.
character. You know, they were real musicians.
Oh, absolutely.
How much fun was that? Come on. How much fun was that to do?
It's
Very
pretty
different
fun.
than the other two.
Very
Yeah.
different. Yeah. For
Well,
sure.
that's the thing. Like, we don't really have any set genre. Like, I've said this in other interviews, you know, where I feel we just play music.
You did
You
say
know,
that. I
yeah.
read that. Yes.
Somebody
you did
else
play
wants
music.
to label it. You want to call it this or call it that. Fine by me. But, you know, I didn't really set out to make any particular genre.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you can tell your diversity because from the last two videos to that one, very, very different, but so much
Yeah.
fun. So
Very
much fun.
different. Yeah.
Well, it was great to see that. So now we're going to switch gears. We're going to kind of land this plane a little bit. However, we're going to take a minute. We're going to go into the future. So can I ask you guys, what can your fans expect next?
Yeah, we've got another original that's in the works. It's tentatively called The Abyss, and it's going to be the third part in the Silence trilogy. Lyrically, it doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the other two songs, but
We need
anyway,
a third part. That's why.
it is the third
We
part.
needed a third part. You can't have a trilogy with two parts, right?
And yeah, this thing's going to be a heavier
Yeah.
song. It's it's a pretty driving.
Yeah.
Really?
I'd say it's going into the metal territory, eh, Rob?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So
That's exciting.
I'm working on that. I'm just finishing up some of the vocals on there, and once I'm happy with it, I'll be sending that off to Rob. We've also got a video that is also in the works for. I don't know if you checked out
Mhm.
our song, "The Mad Minstrel."
Yeah, that's an instrumental, right? Is that an instrumental?
It's just
Yeah.
it's just mostly classical guitar, really.
Yeah.
Just an oddball song I wrote, and I thought, oh well,
I did
do
listen.
something with it.
Yes, I did
So,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a video for that, and then a couple of covers coming down the pipe. I don't really
Yeah,
want
a couple more
don't want
covers.
to
Yeah,
reveal the
No.
it's a secret.
out, but
All right. Well, there's a lot for your fans to expect.
oh, absolutely.
So, any last messages? The last few minutes are yours. Any last messages?
I'd just like to ask to anybody watching the videos, did you spot the stuffed animals?
Yes, the stuffed animals, the Easter eggs.
What,
They're
the
in there.
videos?
Yep,
Check them out.
they're stuffed animals.
Now I got to go back again.
They're in all of them. Yeah, it's a trademark.
Right on. Well, that'll give your fans an excuse to go back, look at things, and you get more views. That's a great marketing tool.
Right.
Well, gentlemen, I will tell you, this has been so much fun. I wish we could do this forever. Thank you so much.
Me too, man.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. And everyone out there, thank you so much for tuning in to, once again, another Blast Music 247 Blaster Rock and Metal podcast. Appreciate you.
Cheers.
Bye bye.